right. Good evening, everyone. Mike here, the Fresh Rinse. Hope everyone is doing well. I'm going to begin by just kind of filtering through some comments already. First of all, welcome to tonight's podcast. This is the WashTube podcast, as you know, the worst podcast ever, the most terriblest, worstest podcast ever. We're glad to have you here tonight. Jeremy will be joining us soon. He is en route, probably in the driveway or getting things set up. He just sent me a text and said I'm going to be a few minutes late. So we have, I believe, an amazing topic tonight, one that I wish that we had really pushed hard, but it's somewhat impromptu by way of the topic. And the topic tonight is why some succeed and why others fail. Why some succeed while others fail. And I'm kind of passionate about this, to be perfectly honest with you. And we're going to spend some time talking about that tonight. I pray and hope that it will be an encouragement to you. Speaking of prayer, don't forget that you can leave your prayer requests here in the comments. And as we're able to and filter through these, then we'll tally these. And at the end of the program, we're going to end in prayer, as we always do. I don't know what episode this is. I wish I had thought to think of that in advance, but we've been doing this for, I think, 6 or 7 months now. With the exception of a few weeks, we have been very, very, very steady in succession and only missing, I think, 2 weeks out of the many months. Next Wednesday, we have Mike Vadan, the great American, the All-American, who will be with us. Don't forget that. Mike Vadan will be with us as our special guest, and we'll have 1 hour with Mike Vadan next Wednesday night at 9 o'clock. And he'll be answering questions straight from the comment section. So be thinking about some questions you might want to ask Mike Vadan next week. Again, our topic tonight is why some succeed when others fail. Let's go through a few comments here. It's good to see everyone already. We've got a bunch of people already in the house, and we're going to try to answer some questions as they come in. Again, Jeremy will be jumping on board here in just a few minutes. My hair will be looking a little on the rough side tonight. Look at that. I got the mirror version going on, so can't really tell which way to throw it. So good to see everyone. Scott Surface Cleaning, Grand Slam Power Washing. Scott's all in the house tonight. We love Scott there from Kingsport, Tennessee, the Tri-Cities area. Grand Slam Power Washing. Guys, feel free to ask questions, leave comments. You can kind of have side chats there. And I see that regularly where you guys are kind of asking one another questions, and that's always good. So I want you to crowd the comment section if you would. Be sure to share these to the local groups or to the Facebook groups, and that helps the algorithm, and that gets us a lot of people coming and going throughout the evening. Again, Jeremy will be joining us here in just a few moments. He works a second job or a first job, and he's working today. So he has about an hour and a half drive every day that he works. And so that's one way. And so he spends at least 3 hours a day in the car going to work at the hospital. So we'll give him a hall pass if he's slacking a little bit or if he's just lagging behind a little bit. But he'll be joining us soon, and he'll add a lot of value to the program. Got a few things to mention tonight. First of all, I hope you guys are going to the Huge. Let me know if you're going to the Huge. Type in the word Huge if you're going to the Huge. That is coming up in less than a month. I'm super excited about it. And then speaking of less than a month, take note of what I'm about to tell you. I'm just going to read this, And this is good stuff right here. I hope that you can make it August the 17th here in my local wash area in Dayton, Ohio. Prestige Pressure Washing. That's all you really need to know is August the 17th and Prestige Pressure Washing. If you can remember the date, and then you can Google or type into your search bar Prestige Pressure Washing, then you can find the location. That's what it's called, Prestige Pressure Washing. This is August the 17th from 12 noon to 6 p.m. And it's called The Blessing of the Rigs. The Blessing of the Rigs. And we'll be blessing the rigs at 5 o'clock p.m. Now, some of you who have any kind of a biker background, my church has an extensive biker ministry, a church that I used to pastor. And so I know what a bike blessing is. Well, this is the same concept, but it's called The Blessing of the Rigs. Again, August the 17th from 12 noon to 6 p.m. in Dayton, Ohio, Prestige Pressure Washing. Now, I'm going to read this. I just got this a few minutes ago from Sean Holderman. Sean, we had on the podcast a few months ago. He is the owner and operator of Prestige Pressure Washing in Dayton, Ohio. He says, we've got about 30 He says we have now about 30 companies coming. Try to say that one 30 times fast. 30 companies are now coming. Russ Johnson, the great pressure washer of all time, the GOAT, Russ Johnson from Southside Equipment will be joining us. We'll also have a representative from Jay Racenstein. If you're not familiar with Jay Racenstein, then you need to get familiar with Jay Racenstein. This is a equipment provider, in particular with the window cleaning industry. But Jay Racenstein will be there, a representative from them, and they'll be doing a window cleaning equipment demonstration, and we'll be giving away free tickets to the Huge. So you want to be there for that. And then Casey Childs will be bringing his washing drone and be giving us a demonstration. That's going to be a lot of fun. A demonstration with the wash drone. So you don't want to miss that. That's Casey Childs bringing the wash drone. And then we'll also have a 6-foot surface cleaner to demo as well. Sean has a 6-foot surface cleaner, and we'll be demonstrating that. That is, of course, set up on the zero turn. So you don't want to miss that. We'll have a cookout with tons of food, inflatables for the kids and the kids at heart. And then get this, you don't want to miss this. SH will be $3 a gallon. $3 a gallon for that day only. So when you come, bring your rig and a few extra buffer tanks or tanks that you can use to transport SH. $3 a gallon, and you don't want to miss that. And I'll mention it again before tonight's over with, and then each week leading up to August the 17th. We've spent a lot of time talking about that tonight. Let's read a few comments real quickly. Grand Slam Power Wash says, I'm fairly new to the business, is only 4 months in, and I believe others fail versus those that succeed because of their willpower. I'll go with that. Willpower is a great thing, and it can make you or break you if you have it or don't have it. David here says, I've built a nice business 6 years now. Good for you, my brother. And for health reasons, I'm being forced to retire. I'm sorry, brother. I am sorry. I went from saying wonderful to I'm sorry to hear this. He says it sucks. None of my grandchildren want to take it over. My brother, we'll be praying for you. Man, that breaks my heart. Goodness. David, I get it, though. We'll be praying for you. The Lord knows. Bright Power Washing. My brother, good to see you in the house. Pristine window cleaning. Good to see you here. Yep. So Scott's laughing at this $3 a gallon. He must be getting it cheaper. And by the way, you know what? I'm not going to tell everybody. I know firsthand how much you're paying for it. You jerk. Some people just got lucky, I suppose. All right. So our topic tonight is, why do some succeed while others fail? Why is it? Why is it that others succeed? Have you noticed that in your wash area? Jeremy's almost in the house. He's in the house, but he's almost on stage, and there he is, ladies and gentlemen. Bravo. Let's give it up for the man of the hour, the one and only, the legendary Jeremy Messer.
I'm here.
He's pouring sweat, man. Let me tell you, he
got rained on. Man.
Well, I'm glad you're able to make it, my brother. Glad you're
able
to make it.
12 minutes late.
Better late than never, my friend. We're glad that you're here.
I'm here.
Barry Little is in the house as well. It's good to see Barry Little. And Jeremy, you can go through there if you want to, and you can see all the many people who are in the house tonight. Brandon Hodge.
Yeah. What's going on, guys? Sorry I'm late. Traffic tonight was my friend of me.
I was just telling him that you drive like an hour and a half to work.
Yeah, it's 90 miles each way. It's not ideal, but I've done it for so long. 11 years. So 3 days a week, sometimes 5. Depends. It's quite exhausting, but it's almost nice in a way to have that time to yourself to think and reflect and just ponder on things. What did I miss?
Can I tell you that that's one of the reasons why some succeed and why others fail? And that's our topic tonight, as you know, Jeremy. We don't have an order for these. It's not like there's the number one reason and the number 10 reason. We're just kind of shooting these out there. And I want to say, maybe that's at the top of the list, is that Jeremy uses his drive time, like I use my drive time, as a mobile classroom. I can tell you guys that when I drive to Virginia almost every weekend, as many of you know, I'm remodeling a home there for the purpose of selling it. And it's 6 to 7 hours one way from my home here in Ohio to there in Virginia. And I will tell you, there are some trips where you'll never hear a song, where it's podcast after video that I've got on my iPad, and I am zoned in. I'm zoned in to learning. And I do believe that one reason that some people win and others lose, some succeed and others fail, is because they simply do not try to gain education along the way with every step.
Yeah. You got to be like a sponge, man. You got to take it in, take everything in. I'm the same, Mike. It's 3 hours a day, every day for me in the vehicle that I'm working. And a lot of times my phone's synced up. I listen to podcasts, but more so I have these people that I like to watch on YouTube that I don't necessarily have to actually watch the video. I can just listen, like it's kind of like what we're doing. It's more or less, I guess they may have a podcast form of it, but I just always just turn on YouTube, throw the phone down and listen to those speakers.
Yeah.
So, I just take it in, man. I've learned so much by doing that.
What do you listen to mostly, if I may ask?
The Fresh Rants. Nice.
I like it.
Plug. I watch my own video. I watch my own videos. No, I'm just kidding. Myron Golden, man. I love Myron Golden. If you guys have ever been turned on to Myron Golden, it's almost like a biblical business podcast in a sense. It's he says that his teachings is kind of I don't know that I'm going to word it correctly, but it's almost like King Solomon's business principles.
Oh, wow. Very nice.
It's a lot of his stuff, a lot of the ways he thinks about business and talks about business. It's got biblical principles, and he's got scripture, and it's nice. I like it. I got turned on to him from Josh Latimer. He referenced him a few times, and then, man, I've been in a rabbit hole of Myron Golden since like a year and a half now. Maybe it's definitely been a year, but it was great. Who else do I listen to? I listen to some Alex Hormozy. I just listen to other guys. There's other people that's not even like wash related. It's a lot of business related, or it might be a lawn care guy. I might watch and listen to a lawn care guy. I watch Brian's lawn maintenance a lot. But she has a podcast, Fullerton Unfiltered. But he's kind of in the service industry. It's a different thing, but it's numbers and business and customer service and stuff of that nature. So you pick up things. Yeah, Myron is fantastic.
Bright Power Wash says last week was a new record week for us. Now, some people are going to read that and they're going to say, why wasn't it for me? And no one can answer that for you. We want to celebrate Bright Power Wash. He says we succeed because we have no quit in us, and some common sense business moves. I can appreciate that. Persistence goes a long way. Yeah,
absolutely.
Absolutely.
So real quick, while we got everyone on here, Mike, have you mentioned the blessing of the rigs yet?
I did
already.
Yeah, I did, and I said I'd mention it again before we leave, and then I would mention it each week. I probably spent 5 minutes talking about it. Yep.
Well, I'm amazed that you only spent 5 minutes.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. I'm excited about that. Again, if you guys are just now tuning in, the blessing of the rigs is August the 17th. That's the date that you need to remember. The time is 12 noon to 6 p.m. And at 5 o'clock, we'll be blessing the rigs. It'll look a lot like a bike blessing if you're familiar with the biker community. And this will be in Dayton, Ohio, Prestige Pressure Wash. You just need to remember that. Google it, get the address. You don't want to miss it. We've got about 30 companies that are going to be there as of now. I tend to believe that's going to grow. Who knows what this may turn into? I'm excited about it.
Hopefully something big. I know they're going to be giving away a huge ticket as well. So that's something that's coming up.
Yep.
And also that's something that's coming up that you may have never thought about going to, maybe don't even know what it is, but it's a convention. It's the huge convention, man. And it's pretty huge. Wouldn't you say, Mike? I mean, there's a lot of people there. And it's not just solely geared toward pressure washing. Even though it's probably the majority of it, but a lot of it goes along with window cleaning and gutter guards and gutter cleaning and exterior cleaning services for the most part. But this will be my 3rd year going, and I've learned something every year. And more so, I pick up more. The classrooms are great, but I pick up more with the fellowshipping with other washers, networking, and just talking and getting that kind of knowledge. Because I mean, you're around everybody. You're around people who's just started. You're around people who's full time. You're around part-time people doing 7 figures a year, people doing 8 figures a year. I'd be amazed to say that there's probably people in there doing 9 figures. I mean, in some of these big companies, and you can rub shoulders and shake hands and talk to these people, and man, they're just a wealth of knowledge. They really are a wealth of knowledge. So for no more than what it will cost you to go there, I don't know what the price of the tickets are now. I know the price to book the hotel, the discount block is going to be going away shortly. I don't have that email. I may see if I can pull it up, but it's if it hasn't already went away, it's gone away soon, like super soon.
Yeah, you definitely
But
want
it's
to get on
definitely
there
something
right
to
now.
consider. Yeah, it's kind of a, maybe we should have been mentioning this for the last couple of months, but I know we haven't talked about it in a while. Yeah, Dave, you should be there. Go ahead, get some PTO, take it off. Let's go.
Yeah.
Anyways, I quit rambling.
That's okay. Last year was my first year at the Huge. I bought my ticket for this year while I was at last year's convention, and I did so for two reasons. One, because I got a discount because I was buying it a year early, but secondly, I was, it's one of those things where you tap into the emotion that you are feeling at that moment. And in the moment, I felt like this was worth it for me. And while the emotion is hot, I'm going to tap into that. And I bought my ticket because, here's the thing, guys. There's a showroom, a large showroom with drones, big surface cleaners, huge rigs, and all of these major rig builders and distributors from Remco to Southeast Soft Wash. All of these guys are there, and all of that is great. You're really going to get in there and enjoy that. But there's a lot of free giveaways and things of that nature. Do you know what? I spent very little time in the showroom. I spent all of my time in the classroom. I want to learn, and not just about pressure washing, but as Jeremy was saying earlier, a lot of the podcasts that I listen to and a lot of the videos that I listen to have nothing to do with pressure washing. Most of the podcasts and the videos that I watch and listen to are business related, small business related, and very motivational kind of things. And again, I'll drive 7 hours to Virginia and never listen to a song and never hit a blank space. And I'm being fed a wealth of knowledge. As an example, about a month ago, I left Bristol, Virginia, and I typed into my iPad there. I typed in how to buy back my time. And I ran across a guy who wrote the book, How to Buy Back Your Time, or Buy Back Your Time. And for 7 hours, I listened to this guy. Just listening to him made me feel better about my schedule. And then I came home and I bought the book, and I'm reading a chapter a day or so of the book as I can. And listen, those who succeed are constantly learning, always, always learning. I believe that.
Yeah, absolutely. You're always learning, even when you think you're not, you're picking something up.
Yeah.
Have we dived into the subject very deep tonight or very much? Have we had any talking points that I've missed in the first?
Nope, that's it. That was our first topic, or our first talking point.
So we're talking about why some excel when others fail in business. Is that right?
That's good. That sums it up right there.
That sums it up. I had kind of had a little list that I had thought about when you sent me that I had jotted down some points, and what you just said was one of my points with continuous learning. And I had kind of right, like, those who excel in business understand the importance of continuous learning and self-improvement. That's key. You have to invest your time and effort in acquiring new knowledge and skills, and even honing in the skills and knowledge that you've got. And that's going to give you that competitive advantage in your field, in your area. Always be doing that. And I would say that possibly another reason could be networking. Especially if you're new and you're not networking. I mean, when you're brand new, you gotta be. It's part of it, man. I mean, networking is the breath of life in business. I would say having a strong network, even like your organic network that just individuals, family members, who your family members know, without even going out and building it, starting there and then evolving that into broadening out your network by joining, like BNIs, joining chambers, joining certain groups, maybe making that phone call to that landscaper or to that other, the plumber, the painter, the real estate management company.
Absolutely.
And just networking with them and seeing how you can serve them while they're serving their customers, and potentially how you can help them serve their customers, or, scratching their back, they're scratching your back kind of deal. It can go a long ways. And, don't ever underestimate the power of a handshake and a hello.
Yeah. Yeah. If I'm going to revisit your last point, your previous point there for just a second.
Sure.
When you said about self-improvement, I heard this phrase recently on a podcast, and I don't remember who it was. Somebody just asked me if I would give a list of podcasts. I may have to do that like in a separate video, because I watch so much stuff and I'm not quick enough to remember who all I listen to. But I heard this comment and it said, self-help turns into shelf help if you don't do something with it. So you can buy the book, you can subscribe to all the podcasts and the channels, but self-help turns into shelf help if you don't do something with it.
It's pretty good.
And I absolutely believe that. And you were talking about networking. I never knew the power of networking until recently, within the last few years. And then when one of our brothers here locally last year started a local wash page or group in our wash area on Facebook, my first thought was, well, that's stupid. That was just last year. I said, that's silly. Like, why do you want to get all your competition together and start pumping out ideas and everything? I can tell you, I have learned since then that when you give away your best stuff, some call it the universe, some call it the algorithm of life. I call it God. The blessings just come your way, right? So why do some succeed when others fail? It's because they have a right mentality that I'm not in competition with anyone but myself, and I want to best myself with every turn, with every move, on every day, with every breath. And I can't do that alone, as the great Hillary Rodham Clinton said, it takes a village. I can't believe that. Oh my God, I just said that. That hurt just saying it. It takes a village. And I absolutely agree with networking.
Yeah, networking's huge. Here's a Pristine said, taking a little extra time to know your customer and take interest in them. Making conversation does go a long way, because they're going to remember that. You're going to build a impacting, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know if I'm going to say relationship, but you're going to make an impact by doing that with them, and they're going to call you back next year. I had a phone call today from a guy that I washed a church for last year that I know it's got to be clean, but they want it washed again this year. For their help me with the word. What's coming up? Oh my gosh, I went blank. What do they do? It's a homecoming. Good grief.
Okay, homecoming. Yeah,
they're homecoming. You got homecomings up in Ohio. I mean, we got them down here in the country. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yeah.
But he's like, I know you just cleaned it last year, and we'd love to have it washed down again. And I'm like, okay, yeah, we can absolutely do that. But speaking on what you were talking about with self-help, with knowledge and growing and doing that, I think another thing that holds people back from excelling and causes them to fail is the skill set too. Let's be honest that it does take a skill set to run a business, to start this, to do that. You have to kind of know some ins and out. It's more than spraying water, but we like to joke and say we're spraying water because it's kind of what it is. But you kind of gotta learn before you just take off running. And I get it. There's a lot of individuals who pick up fast and do this and that, but you really got to put your homework in on, I think, understanding your market, understanding how to market to that, how your branding, what kind of customer you're going on, who's your avatar. And that's a skill set. That's a unique set of skills. And you pretty much in this business, you've got to be a problem solver. And that's what we do. You know, people have dirty houses. That's a problem. We solve it by washing it. We got to know how to go about letting them know that we're the ones who can do that.
Yep.
But you really got to focus in on that, because it is a learned skill for the majority of people. Like, no one just come out of the womb knowing how to do that.
Yeah, I'll tell you, my brother, you hit the nail on the head. Let's talk about that for a second. What separates the successful from the unsuccessful? I think that there's a study in that. Like, I really believe that everyone in this room tonight needs to ask themselves that question regularly. Why is this other company separated from me? Like, they're lapping me. Like, if this were a track, they'd be lapping me. Why is that? What have they done to separate themselves? More often than not, I might get some kickback from this, but more often than not, it's not their ability to wash better than you.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is, a clean house is a clean house. If we're just talking residential, a clean house is a clean house. I've read posts and I've seen videos where guys will literally say, I'm the best washer in my town. I want to challenge that. I'm not brave enough to, but I want to challenge that and say, how do you know that you're the best washer in your town? Like, what's the difference between one clean house and another clean house? Sure, there are some people who just simply do not know how to wash. But if you take two companies, I guarantee you, Jeremy, every person in this chat room, on the side of my computer right here, on the side of my screen, I guarantee you, every person in this group right now can wash as good as me and you.
Oh, yeah.
Because what does that even mean? Like, again, I've heard people say, I wash better than ever. I'm the best washer in my whole. How do you know that? And so my point is this. The customer has no idea that you're better than anybody else because they've never had anybody else. They bought their house, they've lived there forever, whatever the case may be, and they call somebody, they come out and clean the house, and they say, wow, this thing is absolutely beautiful. Yeah. You're no better washer than anybody else, and if you are, you can't really prove it. So here's where I'm going with this, and I'll move on. What separates you from the other washers from the get-go with the customer isn't your ability to wash. I want to tell you what it is, and I challenge anybody to argue on this one. If you get the job, it's because, in fact, I'll take that another step further. If you get the call, it's because you had a better ability to market than the other people. Because the only thing they know about you, the only thing the homeowner knows about you is that you have an amazing ability to market. Whether it was the sign that they saw, whether it was the amazing wrap on your truck, whether it was your Google presence, your Facebook presence, What's that app that we use? Nextdoor. You've got a good presence on Nextdoor. The only thing, and I should say the first thing that they know about you, and possibly the only thing that they know about you, is that you are gifted at marketing. And so I'll say this: those who are the best at marketing will succeed when others fail. There's a lot to be said about that.
Well, if you ain't marketing, they can't find you. You know, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right on that one.
When I first began, I was talking to a good friend of mine about this just this week. When I first began, in the months of like July and August, because we always get these slowdown seasons, right?
Yep.
Where the phones just aren't ringing. Well, I didn't know. I didn't know that was like a phenomenon globally almost. I had no idea. I thought I would just all of a sudden I just suck because I was doing one or two houses every day, almost every day. And like I was making more money than I ever made. I mean, and then July came and I was like, why do I suck so bad? Like the phones just aren't ringing. People don't like me. I mean, I had no idea that it was a thing. And so you know what I did? I printed up little flyers about this size. I think I got 4 on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. They were cheesy. They looked terrible, but my customers didn't know, and I didn't know. And I walked the beat, man. I walked neighborhoods. I had earphones in my ear, and I just and by the way, Jeremy, I'm not suggesting this, but I didn't know. I had no idea that this was illegal. I had a roll of tape on my wrist, and I had those little pieces, those little flyers that I had made. My wife made me on the computer, and it just said something like "Mike's Pressure Washing, your friendly hometown professional." The same slogan I have to this day. And 20% off. I don't know what all it said. And I had this method where I could rip off a piece of tape. I could rip off a piece of tape and slap that flyer onto a mailbox. And I walked, I'm talking dozens of neighborhoods in a day's time, certainly a week's time. Just that's all I did all day long. Because I didn't know not to. And I'm telling you, it has always paid off. Boots on the ground.
At least you didn't put them in the mailbox.
Yeah, I don't know which is. I did have a mailman one time approached me, and he had my little card, my little flyer. And he said, man, I ain't going to say anything. Just let you know, you can't do this. I'm not going to report you, but you can't do this. I'm like, really? I had no idea. I mean, I was just totally ignorant, and he knew that. So then I started going to the door, and I would tape them onto the door. You have to advertise. And again, I'll just reiterate that point. The first thing that they know about you is that you are better at marketing than everybody else.
The reward is greater than the risk for the most part.
Ooh, nice.
You got to take a chance. And that's another thing. That's another thing is risk taking. I had that wrote down. And that's great that you said that. Is you gotta take a chance, man. Like I didn't do what you said, but I did take my business card with a hole punch, punched it out,
nice.
Took a rubber band, took it through, looped it, and I'd hang it on the flag.
Of the mailbox.
I know they're going to see it of the mailbox, which is probably illegal. And honestly, I didn't really care because I didn't know, and I would probably still do it today. But
whatever, man, take a risk. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, I mean, I put out 250, 500 of them things, and I get it in the grand scheme of things. That's kind of a low number, but when that's all you got, that's all you got. So you got to take a risk. You got to take a risk and put yourself out there. You get some of these people who want to start a business and think that, oh, I'm a business owner. I wash houses or vehicles or gas stations or restaurants or whatever it is, that you've got a phone number and everyone's just going to find you and come to you, but that's not how it goes.
No.
You got to be out on the street, in the buildings, wherever the work is where you need to be trying to get the work. It takes stepping outside of your comfort zone to grow, to get things going. So, and maybe that's in your comfort zone, and that's cool too. But I'd say for the majority of people who have never had a business, or maybe come from an employee mindset side of things into a self-employed / business owner mindset, it's a little different. It's not a little, it's a lot different. And man, you got to do whatever you got to do. You got to take those chances. Yep. What's that saying, Mike? You miss 100% of the chances that you don't take.
That's right.
That's it.
You miss 100% of the shots you do not take. That's exactly right.
That's it.
So you're talking about having an employee mindset and a background. My background leading up to pressure washing was pastoring churches. And that's all I've known since I was in my mid-20s. I preached my first sermon when I was 21, and I had aspirations of being a pastor. I remember when I was 21, 22 years old, and I knew nothing about pastoring, but that I wanted to become a pastor. I used to go, Jeremy, you can relate to this, working at a hospital. I used to go to the hospitals and go door to door, and I don't even know that you can do it, but I used to go on visitation because I knew that pastors went on visitation, and I didn't have anybody to visit. I didn't have a church. So I literally got cleaned up and went to the local hospital and went room to room praying with people that I didn't even know. Because I needed to practice. I mean, I didn't think that I wasn't doing it because I needed to practice. I wanted to bless people, but I had it in my heart to be a pastor, right? So if I don't have a flock, I'm going to create a flock. And so once I started pastoring, I had several years of experience at pastoring before I was pastoring, because I was faking it till you make it, so to speak. That's probably not the best model, but I didn't know any different. And so right. What caused me when I first started pressure washing to go door to door with these cheesy little flyers, mailbox to mailbox, is because that's what I did when I was trying to grow my first church. When I pastored my first church at the age of 26, there were 18 of us, including my wife and myself and our 3-year-old daughter. She was the youth group. Everyone else in that church was retired. So there were 15 retired people, my wife, myself, and my little daughter. And I would go through the community with that same model, piece of some tape on my wrist and these cheesy flyers. And so when I got into pressure washing, that's how I assumed it worked. It worked to build a church. And so I assumed it would work to build a business. And guess what? It did. I would do it all over again. If I had to start over right now, that's exactly what I would do. I wouldn't change a thing.
Would you get a little bit nicer door hanger now, though?
Yeah, I probably would. And I'd probably go to nicer neighborhoods. Yeah, I might change my clientele a little bit, but
that's all right, man. It's all right. You still giving them 20% discounts out though for some of the people.
That's another thing. I would not give the early bird special. Here I am in the month of April giving early bird special. That's when everybody wants their house washed. If you're going to give a special, don't give it in April, for crying out loud.
Yeah, give a November special.
That's it. Oh God, there's a lot to be said about that.
This has been a fun conversation so far.
Yeah. I'm kind of passionate about this, to be honest with you, because I'm just going to tell you, I'm talking to a lot of guys who feel like that they can sit on the couch and wait for the business to come in. And I'm going to tell you, it just doesn't work like that. And just like, by the way, when I was pastoring that first church, A lot of those doors that I knocked on, those people didn't come to our church. It was like the good Lord sent other people. People at the doors that I didn't knock on, those were the ones who were coming. Something about this energizes the pressure washer within you. When you get a phone call, you've been knocking on doors all day long, and then you get a phone call from somebody that from a door that you didn't knock on, and you just, I mean, it makes you want to just get out there even further and do more. And I tell you that's, you cannot do it sitting in the recliner. It will not happen.
No, it's not like it ain't like you've got a dinner bell or something. You can't just ring it and they come running. You know, you got
Right. Exactly.
You got to put the work in. You got to put the work in, which I think is another good point is time management.
Oh, that's good.
You got to know how to manage your time. That's probably a big reason why a lot of people fail and a lot of people succeed is, and I'll be the first one to admit, I am not the greatest at managing my time. I do manage it, but I'm not like, I don't have a list. My wife is very list driven, bulletin points, check it off, scratch it off. I just can't. I might write some things down, but like I can't check the boxes. And maybe that's something that I need to work on for myself. But time management is crucial. And learning how to prioritize what's important, what's more important over another, which task is the most important. Obviously, getting the leads and getting the estimates and closing the deal is one of the most important things you can do, because if you're not getting leads, you ain't making money. You got to get the leads and you got to convert them. So you got to work on that.
Yeah.
But you got to learn how to, you can't just worry about wash and not work on getting leads, because there comes a time when you've washed everything that you had and now you have no new leads.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a scale, you got to balance it. So where you're washing and you're still getting leads and keeping everything oiled and greased and rolling and going. And that just helps you be more productive and helps the business grow.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the guys that I listen to, and you might think to write this down, guys, his name is Dan Martell. He wrote a book called Buy Back Your Time. It's amazing. His podcast is amazing. Dan Martell is his name. And he's got quite a rugged background. He looks like a lot of us. And I think that he can relate, and you can relate to Dan Martell. So I would encourage you to check out his stuff. But one of the things that he really says, just to kind of piggyback off what you just said there, Jeremy, is that he says you need to do a time audit. And go through your day. I'm going to tell you, this is convicting because I did it. I did this. Go through your day and write down what you did and how much time you spent doing it. I'm going to tell you, it's convicting, because what you're going to find is most of us spend way too much time checking out everybody else's business and everybody else's Facebook post and everybody else's YouTube video and TikTok video. When you write down, oh, and by the way, another thing he says is, and it may have been someone else who said this, but I'll piggyback off that. Put a value on every hour of your day. Put a value on it, a dollar figure. Let's just say it's $100. Do you think you're worth $100 an hour? Now, I'm not talking about $100 an hour of washing, but $100 an hour, generally speaking, $2,400. Is that what you're worth for 24 hours? And then start asking yourself every time you pick up the video, what do you call that? The remote control. Is that what you call it these days? The remote control of the video?
Flipper.
What is it?
The flipper, the channel changer.
No. For video games. For video games.
Oh, the controller.
Okay, the controller. Because
yeah.
I know you enjoy playing video games, and this isn't about video games. It could be anything. Yeah. But ask yourself, if you put a dollar value on every hour of your day that you're worth this much stuff, and then you say, okay, hold on a second, I want to come away at the end of the day with $2,400, but I'm going to give away $100 for every hour that I'm playing a video game. Like if it costs you $100 every time, you'd probably give it up pretty darn quickly. So do a time audit of your day and then find out how convicting that is, because you realize how much time that you've wasted. I want to say something else about that here in just a few moments, but yeah, I love that point.
Yeah, no, that's great. Actually, I recently deleted my TikTok account. It's still active, but I deleted the app because I just found myself mindlessly scrolling, losing brain cells. And I did exactly what you said, Mike. I pulled my phone up and I just scrolled over and I went to my little screen and I was like, oh my gosh, how have I spent this much time on this one app?
Yep.
Now, if it was YouTube, I totally understand why. But this is not bettering me.
Right.
This is actually probably hurting me.
Probably hurting you.
You know, it's not helping me. It's distracting me. I deleted it. I'll go back and forth and download it or whatever, and then I'll delete it. And I think I may have had it this last time for like a week or two. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And I just delete it.
Yep.
And so I haven't had it at all today. And I found myself just picking my phone up, and I was like, what am I doing? What am I doing? Like, I need to break this habit.
Right.
So yeah, that's a great point. That is a great point.
You've got to be more disciplined. I don't mean you specifically. We all need to be more disciplined.
Yeah.
And
I do.
if you get up at an early enough time, 6 o'clock, we'll just say I get up at 6 a.m. And my first opportunity every morning, Monday through Friday, is at 8 o'clock a.m. That's when I'm usually at my first wash. Yep. And if I get up at 6 a.m., that really gives me an hour in the morning to do my Bible devotion, to pray, even eat a little bit of breakfast, and Jeremy, flip through some TikTok videos if I so want to. But that's my little time. You know, I've got my coffee there and I'm doing that. But from that point on, no more TikTok. Like, I'm not doing TikTok. You know, I obviously, and you do as well, have a YouTube channel where we make videos. So there has to be an investment there if we're going to continue doing that. But no, listen, why are you watching everybody else's success?
Yeah.
That makes no sense whatsoever if you're not learning from it, right?
Yeah. No, I will say one thing I noticed is that obviously the hours that I'm at my job is when my consumption is higher on my phone. Because there's downtime.
Right.
I might have some, free time in between seeing this patient and that patient from going back and forth. But generally when I'm home and working, I can tell that the time is way down.
Nice.
But it's like, I just need to remove that option.
That's right. Remove
it. So.
Yep. Well, here's another one. Here's another one on the same side of the coin. We're talking about time management. We're talking about time audit. I'm going to give you an example here in just a moment. Here's the little subject. And that's never, ever take a day off. At least Monday through Friday, you don't take a day off. Now, here's what I mean by that. We as business owners, so often I hear guys say, man, the reason I started my business so I could have my own time and I could do with it whatever I wanted to. Yeah, but if you're not successful, then you can't work 2 hours and take 6 hours off or the rest of the day off. You listen, if you worked at the factory, if you worked at the hospital like Jeremy does, if you worked at the mechanics at the garage, you're going to have to work 40 hours. So you got to set it up like that in your mind. I'm going to work 40 hours this week. Imagine if you didn't have any pressure washing jobs, but you still managed to work 40 hours. I promise you will pick up work.
Yeah.
So here's my analogy. You can see behind me Oakley, BMX stuff here and there. When I was much younger, I raced BMX, and I also did freestyle. Some of you who are in the 50, it maybe even a newer generation can relate to this. You know what a half pipe is. Skaters would ride a half pipe. BMX guys, we'd ride half pipe. And I had a half pipe in my backyard. And when you competed in trick riding, as they call it today, you can't have any blank walls. If you just go up and then come back down without doing a trick, it's called a blank wall, and they'll deduct points for you from that or because of that. So those who scored the highest were those who did a trick on every wall, and if you didn't do a trick, it was called a blank. And so I take that same, I know that's silly, but I take that same mentality into my pressure washing business. I do not have any blank days. I work every day. You say, what if it's raining? I go out and set out yard signs. That's when I get out there in the pouring rain, because that's when, by the way, that's when the grass is the soggiest and the stakes go down the ground a little bit easier. I do. Yeah. And you say, well, if it's raining, what do? Well, I put out yard signs and I make phone calls, cold calls, whatever. I get on the computer and I do all my ads for Facebook on those rainy days. Or by the way, if I get off at 2:30, every now and then I'll come home and I'll jump in the pool. But more often than not, I still work till 5 o'clock. Everybody says I wanted to get away from that. That's why I started a business. Well, if you're ultra successful, then you can just take as much time off as you want to. But if you're not successful, then you can't be working it 2 and 3 hours a day or no hours a day. You need to be working the business and working in the business as much as you work on the business.
Well said. Well said.
I'm telling you, I'm passionate about this.
I don't remember what it was. Yeah.
I am passionate about this. Scott says we had a quarter pipe in the church parking lot. I want to go to that church.
Yeah. Do you think you can still ride a half pipe, Mike?
I rode a couple of years ago. Let's see. I'm 53. When I was 50, I was still riding. I haven't ridden in a few years, but I can still ride.
I remember seeing a video. I seen that video. I guess you had posted. I don't remember when it was, but you were on your bike and you did some sort of freestyle trick, like spin the handlebars around, come back around.
Yeah.
I don't know how it popped up. It popped up and I saw it, and Amanda was like, who is that? And I was like, that's Mike. She said, that's not Mike. I said, that's Mike.
Oh, yeah.
He was professional.
Hey, can we jump on that for just a moment? I know we're at the top of the hour, but you know what?
Are you talking about looking professional?
Improving on your professionalism. Improving on your professionalism. It's huge.
Yeah.
My wife.
I like to say professionalism is not. It's just not only the way that you look, but it's the way that you present yourself. And what I mean by that is just your tone, your attitude, your body posture. You don't have to have the fanciest shirt. You can just have a t-shirt with a thing on it. This is like $15. This isn't a $50 shirt.
Right.
It's a $7 hat with a $10 patch. Like, it's nothing.
Yep.
But even if you don't have the hat, just comb your hair, brush your teeth, take a shower.
Right.
It's just the simple things. And just the way you go about talking to people. And I cringe so much. And I see these posts on these Facebook groups where they post these customer interactions and the way that some of these people talk to these people. I'm like, God, ain't no wonder like your business probably sucks and it's suffering. Like, learn to speak to people. Like, don't say that. Hold your tongue.
Yeah.
Mike, would you like to tell us something about what the Bible would say about a tongue?
Oh my goodness. The Bible has a lot to say in the book of James about the tongue.
It does, doesn't it?
It is a world of iniquity, and out of the abundance of the heart the mouth speaks, the Bible says.
Yeah.
I'll echo that right there with you. I had a guy show up at my house 2 weeks ago to give a quote to put up a 6-foot privacy fence. And he said he'd been doing it for 37 years. I'm going to tell you, he acted like it was day one. I mean, he looked bad, and I get it. Listen, I'm going to give a hall pass. The guy's a worker. I want him to be a worker. Yeah. But he acted like he had never talked to a customer before. And he may still get the job. But at the same time, I'm just saying, here's another one real quick along the same lines.
Yeah.
Your voicemail needs to be at the very least charming, but professional. I'm going to do a video. I won't play it now, and I won't ask you to call me so that you can. Don't call me just so you can listen to my voicemail. Please don't do that, because I reserve that for my customers. But if you call Mike's Pressure Washing and I don't answer, you're going to get a voicemail that sounds something like this. Hey, this is Mike with Mike's Pressure Washing. Thank you so much for calling. I value your time and your call. However, at this time, I'm either on another call with a customer, or I'm on a ladder. Either way, I look forward to talking to you soon. If you'll leave your name and your phone number and a detailed message of how I can best serve you, then I promise to return your call at the end of this work day. Have a great day. Let me tell you, regularly, and I've got some texts, if I can find them on my phone, of where people said they hired me because of my voicemail. I didn't even answer the phone and got the job. You know what I'm saying? I'm not bragging about that. I'm telling you, that's mind-blowing to me that here's the point. I can't brag about that because it's so trivial. People's expectation of professionalism is at an all-time low, so anybody can be professional. So, because anybody can be professional, when you rise above the others, you automatically stand out.
You do.
You automatically stand out by having a good voicemail, by having a proper tone when you do answer the phone, by having a little chit chat, just being charming, a little bit of charming. But I'm going to tell you, when they call and they say, yeah, I was wondering if I could get a quote. Yeah, you got a 1-story house or 2-story house? 2-story. It's $500. That's it. That's all you're going to give them? Come on.
I want to pull this up real quick. There's a question. It's on here from Grand Slam Power Wash. I'll go first on this one. Okay. So, Grand Slam, I'm still not full time. I probably should be. I probably wash like I am, but I'm not. I still work a full time job. For me, at the moment, it's questionable. I should probably go sooner than later, but we have some things going on that I still need to hang on to my health insurance with for just the next little bit. So, how do you know when it's time to go? I feel like you just know when it's time to go. You know, if you're working, have you been able to replace your income? Have you been able to, are you making more outside with washing than you are with your job? I don't know your situation. Those vary. Are you washing year round? What's your lead flow look like? What's your costs look like? There's lots of variables. And I'll shut up on that.
Yeah, and for me, I didn't have an option. Obviously, a lot of people in the chat room do not know my story, but I was without any kind of income at all. I didn't have a job, and I had for many years told my wife, if ever I am in need of gainful employment, then I think I'll try pressure washing. Neither one of us knew what that was, and so when that day came and I didn't have a job, I borrowed a pressure washer from a friend, and I went to pressure washing. Didn't know what I was doing, thought I had invented the industry myself, literally had no idea. And by the way, if I can use that to segue into another point, someone might say, well, Mike, 10 years ago, you had an advantage. There weren't a lot of pressure washers out there. Well, I don't disagree with that. But what I will say to that is I didn't know that I had an advantage. I didn't know that I was one of the first in our area. I had no idea. And yet I still hit the pavement every single day. I didn't know that I was privileged. I had no idea. If I had known that I was the only guy out there, I might have sat in my recliner and just waited for the phone to ring. I didn't know it, so I pounded the pavement. So I'll say this, and this is, you're really going to have to pray about this. Jeremy's going to have to pray about this. Everyone who's part-time is going to have to pray about this on your own and do what you feel like the good Lord is telling you to do. But at some point, you really do need to burn the ships, because as long as you have that to hold on to, you won't go full-time. And by the way, not everybody needs to be full-time. Not everyone needs to be full-time. If Jeremy said it best just a few moments ago, if your income at your current job exceeds your pressure washing income, don't quit. Your family needs you, right? If you've got a 401k and benefits out the wazoo, you might want to think about that. Just because you want to be independent and just because you want to be a business owner and you enjoy washing, listen, if you burn that bridge or if you burn that ship and you can't go back, then your family is valuable. The most important thing in your life is your family. So, and then I could also use that to segue into saying that if you do not have a good support system, most of the people in here are men, and probably married men. If your wife is in opposition to you going full time, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't risk my marriage over it. It's not worth it. But you need an amazing support system in your spouse before you hit the eject button on your full-time job.
Absolutely. I agree with that. 100%. Well, guys, as you can see at the bottom of the screen, scrolling across is Mike's and my Venmo and Cash App. If you would like to donate to our cause of hosting the show here, those funds go toward the cost of using StreamYard, and we use that to make upgrades to the equipment when needed. And so we greatly appreciate that. We haven't ran that across in a while or promoted it. And so just want to throw that up there. That way you know what that is.
Yeah, we don't talk a lot about that. Perhaps we should. When you find value in something, one way to express the appreciation is to make a donation. Now, you might ask, why do people talk about money in terms of gifts and appreciation? And we talk about money in that way because money is measurable, right? You can manage what you can measure. So money is measurable. You do that with your own job. You have goals that you want to reach financially, and you can say, I was more successful last month than I was this month. What can I do to change that? So money is a measurable content. So that's why we talk about money in that fashion. If you want to give, we would certainly be very, very grateful.
Yep. Let's see here. Well, we've pushed it about 10 minutes past the hour. Well, I think that's
Hey, looky there. I have not looked at that. Scott Surface Cleaning says, Mike, have you looked at my new profile picture yet? You know who that is, Jeremy? That's yours truly.
That's you, ain't it? That's you and Scott, I'm assuming.
It is. Scott's larger than life.
Scott,
when we took
Scott, take that down if you want to get subscribers.
If you want to succeed, you'll take that down, my brother. So when we took that selfie, Scott literally had to stoop down to look into the camera. He's a giant. He's a giant. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you, brother. All right, let me real quickly. It's Jeremy's turn to pray, but before we do that, let me very quickly. August the 17th, that's the blessing of the rigs from noon till 6 p.m. We'll be blessing the rigs, meaning I'll be praying over. I think we're going to kind of make a circle don't hold me to that. We're going to pray over the rigs at 5 o'clock. This is in Dayton, Ohio at Prestige Pressure Washing. And we've got about 30 other companies that are now planning to be in attendance. By the way, Russ Johnson from Southside Equipment will be there, driving over from Kentucky. Then also a representative from Jay Racenstein will be there doing a window cleaning demonstration with their equipment. And he'll be giving away a ticket to the huge convention. So you don't want to miss that. Casey Childs will be there bringing his washing drone. That's going to be fun. I've never seen one in person. I don't think I've seen one in person flying. And we'll have the 6-foot surface cleaner to be given a demo as well. And then a cookout, inflatables for the kids, and bleach will be $3 a gallon. So bring your rigs, fill up.
Absolutely. That's a good. I don't know what the going price is in that area, but that sounds like a great price to me where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be tickled to get some of that. All right. Well, here. Chris says I've clicked on the wrong one. Do you have to
No.
register for this? I don't think so. You just show up.
Nope. Just show up, my brother. Just show up.
I don't think we're that fancy for it yet.
Nah.
All right. Well,
actually, it's $50, and the Venmo is at the bottom of the screen there.
You're funny. You're funny. Well, all hearts and minds are clear. Is everybody good?
One more thing, super quick.
Sure.
Type in Prestige Pressure Washing in Dayton, Ohio. Prestige Pressure Washing. That'll give you the address. Yep. Oh, yeah. Real quickly. Old Fat Guy BMX. Love my friend Stony McGee. Stony McGee.
What a cool name.
That's his name too, Stony McGee.
That's a cool name.
He's my brother right there.
That's awesome.
All right. We're going to pray.
All right. Yes, let's go. All right. Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for this opportunity to gather tonight, Lord, in fellowship with our friends, Lord. We give you praise and thanks for your Son, Jesus Christ, Lord. We just ask that you be with us on our daily journey, Lord, just to lead, guide us, and protect us. Let us always keep you in the forefront of our mind, Lord, and in our business, Lord. I want to pray tonight for our friend Bobby Duncan with American Pride Pressure Washing out of Ohio, who is battling illness in the hospital. We just pray that you'll watch over him, Lord, heal his body, Lord, and just be with the doctors that make the decisions on the best way to treat him. We thank you for everything that you've done. We thank you for our friends, and we look forward to meeting again with them next week, Lord. We love you. We praise you, and we thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
And speaking of next week, Mike Vadan will be with us, the All-American pressure washing there, and here right here on the worst podcast ever, the WashTube podcast. Mike Vadan will be with us next Wednesday night. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Guys, we'll see you next week. Peace.
Peace. Be good.